as we can August 11th. It's back to school week. That's going to be a big thing this week. There is a chance of rain at the end of the week, but as you've seen all summer, it's hard to predict with all these little storms and pockets popping up. Today, I wanted to talk about types of grass. This is always something we can be reminded on, and specifically the heights at which they should be routinely or default mowed, um, and why, and then what kind of things would change that. So, real quickly here, these are the three types of most common types of grass that we see in the Central Texas Austin region. You got Bermuda, Zoysia, and Augustine grasses. And here we go. So, oh, we got to get on there. There we go. In general, it goes in this order: Bermuda, then Zoysia, then St. Augustine from a height perspective. Again, this is default. We're looking at 1.5 inches for Bermuda, 2 to 2.5 inches. I probably should have put 2.5 inches on here because it's easier to remember 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, but we are. And then three is St. Augustine. That's 3.5. Um, and we'll show you some pictures of these. So starting with Bermuda, this is the Bermuda grass. This is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. You can see these little heads. I think I got another one here with seed heads. There you go. Whenever you got these things popping up, and sometimes these things will pop up really fast, this is Bermuda grass. There's different variations. There's celebration. There's TIFF 419. There's common Bermuda. The only one that we seed as a company is common Bermuda, um, of all three of these grasses. But you can get a sense here. It can grow super short. We typically default to 1.5 inches. Again, there's some variance, so you should cut them shorter. Some variance, you should cut them longer. This is a full sun grass, loves full sun. And one of the advantages you have with Bermuda is that if it gets super drought stressed, which we haven't experienced this year, then it just goes dormant. It doesn't really die. It just goes to sleep. Um, this one does look a little brownish during the winter. Um, so not, yeah, grayish, brownish during the winter. But this is Bermuda. Next grass. Oh, here's a good example. This is a little splotchy. You can kind of see there's like nitrogen pockets in here, areas that have gotten extra fertilizer. But this is an Austin yard, a little bit off green there. Now we're going to Zoysia. This is probably the most, uh, the fanciest of the grasses. It needs to be cut at 2 to 2.5 inches. Again, default. And it just feels really great. There's two main kinds, Palisades, Zorro. Um, in general, one thing to think about as we go through this is the thicker the leaf, the better it does in shade. That makes sense if you think about it because it has less sunlight. It needs more sail or more area, surface area to catch sunlight to produce all the nutrients it needs for photosynthesis. And so Zorro zoysia is the thin one. That one does better in sun. Palisade zoysia, thicker. That one does better in shade. Both of these do really pretty darn well in both shade and sun. It's one of the reasons it's such a popular grass. Um, but here's some pictures. This is I think it's Zorro Zoysia. This is Palisade Zoysia. You can kind of see the difference in how thin, thick those are, and you can kind of they're still pointy. Um, the yards can look so good. This is some great lines. Okay, St. Augustine, the classic. It's gotten less popular in recent years because it needs a lot of water. And as we start to have more water issues in Central Texas, they're being installed less and less. Most new homes are putting Bermuda in. Um, But St. Augustine can look great. This is what I have in my yard. Love St. Augustine. It's also, it can do well in full sun, but it needs a lot of water. It can also do really well in shade. Again, this is the longest of the grasses, with the thickest of the blades. You can see how thick these blades are. These are the ones that have like the caterpillars almost a, it's not caterpillar grass, it's a different thing, but it like has the, I think it's stolons is the word. Stolons are like it's has the runners that stick out like these, that kind of crawl across the top of the ground and anchor in, keep growing. Um, It's really nice here. It's healthy. This is what the seed heads of these look like. They look almost like asparagus. Um, I've never tasted it. I have no idea if it's any good. Probably not. And then, in my opinion, St. Augustine looks the best when you can get these real thick edges on them. So it'll stand up next to, uh, it'll create, you can kind of almost see the roots here. It's kind of been cut out right there. It's really nice. With really good edges like that. So again, Bermuda, the shortest, most heat tolerant of the three, 1.5 inches. Zoysia, 2 to 2.5 inches. St. Augustine, 3.5 inches. What we tell our team, because this is the default when you walk up to a yard, and if you don't have any notes on what that's going to be, this is where you should start. Now, what are the different things that can affect that? Well, first of all, shade. The shadier it is, the more leaf you really want. So you want to call it kind of taller. Time of year. You may want to cut it a little bit longer in the winter. Um, Just general preference. Some people like their yard shorter. And if you're mowing it regularly and watering it really heavy, then you can get away with Bermuda lawn that's 2.5, 2 inches long, and it can look really good. Um, it's not the ideal thing for the grass, but it can be a very healthy grass. Um, let's see what else. If you're getting, I mean, there's some traffic issues and stuff like that that might change it. But I think in general, like shade and water and regularity of mowing really matter. What happens with Bermuda if you don't mow it mm, really often is, and you let it get too long, as it gets really thin. You get like it looks like an okay yard from the side, but once you get above it, you can see straight to the dirt. And so that's another reason to cut Bermuda specifically much more regularly. All these grasses do better if you get regular weekly mowing. Um, rather than every other week or every 3 weeks or so. In the winter, of course, that can decrease, but it's actually better for the grass often, even in the winter, to get more regular mowing because it stimulates like the plant to grow, which chokes out weeds and all the things. So there's some stuff for you as I'm looking at my St. Augustine yard this week. It's looking much better this year than it has in previous years just because of all the rain and we've been taking care of it, so it's been improving. Um, but I could talk about grass for a long time. I hope you guys have a great week. Cheers.